Hi folks, it's Florida Man here once again. Today I'm bringing you my after-action report on my experiences in the Weasel Moot 2020 Diplomacy Tournament, a virtual tournament based in Chicago. I mean, usually it's in person, but you know, coronavirus. Anyway, I decided to participate in the round that took place on August 29th, so there's only one round discussed here, but it certainly was an interesting one for me. I was on board 7, I drew Austria, which is my favorite country on the map, and I got off to a bit of a bumpy start. In fact, I would say I had a bit of a bumpy game, so please enjoy. Spring 1901. I have a bit of trouble from the beginning of the game. I try to ally with Turkey, and he basically says he doesn't want to commit to doing anything against Russia too early on, but maybe later, so he's not going to open to Armenia. Italy and I commit to working together. Russia and I discuss working together, but he also suggests bouncing in Galicia, which I agree to. When orders process, I see Italy has stabbed me in spring 1901, slipping into Trieste. Great. Fall 1901, I get Russia to agree to support his fleet into Romania instead of his army. Russia still makes me nervous because the signal I'm getting from Italy is that Russia has been the one pushing him to move into Trieste. I didn't have much time to discuss orders with Germany, and unfortunately he doesn't bounce Russia in Sweden, so at this point I'm worried about a strong Russian-Italian alliance anchored by a very strong Russia, and about a Turkey who seems compliant and does not seem to me to be thinking very strategically at this point. When orders process, I see that at least Italy didn't try to advance further against me, but he didn't withdraw as he had pledged to do. Spring 1902, I openly tell Italy that unless he withdraws and helps me fight, I will make sure that Russia and Turkey are the only beneficiaries of my downfall, and I will continue attacking him until I'm dead. I move accordingly. Turkey continues, like an absolute pawn of Russia and Italy, to make unsupported moves against me that basically just prevent me from recovering Trieste. On the bright side, Russia does move south against Turkey, as he had suggested he might, but he hadn't built a fleet as I thought we had agreed, so I'm still not totally happy. Italy also moves against Turkey, but I prevent him from backfilling the Ionian, which would have made his move more effective, because Italy is the person who's messing up my game, so I'm going to make sure he does not do well. Fall 1902, my vengeful maneuvers begin to actually bear fruit. Turkey finally sees, with Russia in Armenia, that he is Russia's target, not Russia's ally. He therefore proposes a move against Russia, asking that I support him into Romania, and I tell him, sure thing, bro. So I'll know that any possible support from the Russian unit in Romania is cut. This finally allows me to succeed in attacking Trieste and retaking it, so the Russian-Italian alliance actually loses a little ground against me, even as they take Smyrna from Turkey. Italy retreats to Tyrolia, which frankly probably makes it less likely that he and I will be able to work together if he had just destroyed that army and rebuilt it as a fleet. But if. Anyway, spring 1903, Russia expresses concern about a strong French-German alliance, and he proposes that the three of us, me, him, and Italy, all work together to quickly defeat Turkey and head them off. However, I don't really trust that either Russia or Italy will follow through with this, and even though we all move in accordance with the alliance in spring, repositioning to attack Germany and Turkey, Italy and I simultaneously stab each other in the fall, although he does so in a way that's very predictable for me. As a result, Italy temporarily gains Vienna, while I take Venice. I also helped Turkey survive by supporting him into Smyrna, which prevented him from going down to 2 centers. This ends up being kind of important later. Spring 1904, Russia confronts me, outraged that I stabbed him, and I point out that Italy stabbed me too, and that the two of them aren't really trustworthy, especially Italy, and I really don't think we can be in an alliance if it includes Italy. Russia kind of ignores this argument and just says we need to get our act together and fight France and Germany. And fundamentally I agree, but I want Italy gone first, so I move to accomplish that. France is also beginning to move into the Med, and that does worry me a bit, but I think perhaps France can be held off while also killing Italy. Fall 1904, we see that I keep Venice, regain Vienna, and take the Ionian Sea, and unfortunately this is the peak of Austrian power. France takes Tunisia, but he is not interested in working with me and trying to make some accommodation that would allow me to continue fighting in the east and allow him to turn on Germany now and take any of the increasing number of undefended German centers. He instead moves to Piedmont. In spring 1905, although France promised to support me convoying into Naples, he actually moves into Piedmont and takes the Ionian. By fall, I'm working with Russia and Turkey against France and Germany. Italy helps France take Venice from me, while France and Turkey bounce in the Ionian. Spring 1906, we continue to tussle in the Ionian, but this time Turkey actually gets into it. At the same time, Russia and I persuade France to stab Germany, and we support him into Tyrolia. In the fall, France continues to stab Germany, Russia retakes Moscow, and I take Bulgaria off of Russia, just because I don't see myself gaining ground in the French-Italian space soon, and I don't really want Russia to be the one who's growing here, so I would like to increase my share of supply centers. If we're working with France, I'm also hopeful he won't try any further maneuvers to attack east, which might leave me a free hand to deal with Turkey and/or Russia. Spring 1907, Russia goes ballistic. He's infuriated out of all proportion to the single center I took, and he stops being reasonable for the rest of the game. For the rest of the game, he'll be attacking me and trying to get other people to attack me, which is annoying. At the same time this happens, France reneges on promised support. Instead of supporting me from Trieste into Venice, as he had promised, he orders support for Budapest to Venice, and he tries to pretend it was an accident, which is about the dumbest lie you could possibly expect someone to believe. Thanks to my cutting German support from Munich, though, France got into Munich. Fall 1907, Russia is trying to attack me, but fortunately right now he's doing it poorly, and he telegraphed everything he was going to do in such a way as to make it easy for me to counter him. Unfortunately, Turkey decides this is his opportunity to stab me, and he walks into Greece, even as France works with Italy to push Turkey out of Naples and to protect Venice from me. Spring 1908, I'm fighting on every front, and I seem to have burnt every bridge. As the game goes on, Russia continues attacking me, occasionally with Turkish or Italian assistance, even as I try to work with Germany and the others to stop the possibility of French solo. Over the years of 1908 and 1909, I spent a lot of time complaining about Russia's unreasonableness and the fact that he's moving based on his grudge against me, rather than attempting to engage in any kind of teamwork with anyone against France. By the end of 1910, I'm alive in Trieste, but only in Trieste, and I'm alive there only with French support. Things continue like that for 2 years, with Russia alternatively attacking me or cajoling me to return to helping him fight France. When he does so, I politely tell him where he can shove his proposals, and point out that if he had not reduced me to this single center, we might have stopped France already. By this point, it's late into the night here, well past midnight for me, and I just want to go to bed. I just want this to be over. There have been repeated draw proposals by now, but some clown, who I was convinced at the time was Russia, and I still suspect it was probably Russia, kept shooting them down. The entirety of 1911 was tedious, but finally, at the end of 1912, I received the joy of being eliminated from the game, and I can finally rest in peace. I am gratified to be able to say that after all the difficulty, and the annoyance, and all the bad-mouthing I did, all the bad energy between me and Russia throughout this game, the game ends when he is eliminated, after years of attacking his neighbors and then being invaded by them in turn, so just like me and Italy and England, Russia does not survive. So that was my experience at Weasel Moot. Because our game lasted longer than any other game that was played in round 1, I did not actually get to be eliminated until after every other game was over. Because I stayed up so late playing, I decided, in consideration of my wife's need for sleep, not to play in round 2 the following week. Will I regret this decision? Perhaps. Hopefully you will enjoy the after-action report for round 1 enough that it compensates for you for the fact that I'm not there in round 2. I hope you've enjoyed this after-action report. My experience at Weasel Moot was quite frustrating for me, though the game was also entertaining at times. But if you have taken some enjoyment out of it, then all my rage and alligator growling will have been worth it. On a more serious note, I've been looking at my channel analytics, and I see that about 70 to 75% of my viewers are not subscribers. So I ask that if you are enjoying these videos, you will like them and subscribe to them. It helps the channel grow, and it makes it more visible on YouTube to other hobbyists just like you. Until next time, Florida Man, out.